Hi, this is Gareth from Rockfiend, and I'm with Ashley Edison, the brand new singer, recently introduced singer for Tigertailz. Ash, how are you getting on?
Yeah, very well, thank you, Gareth. How are you, buddy?
I'm fine, thanks. Sorry, I'm
Good.
calling you Ash there. Do you prefer Ashley or
Uh,
Ash?
Either I've been called much worse, so it's absolutely fine. Yeah, whatever works.
Either way, Ashley, it's great to have you here on a Friday night to discuss. Obviously, as I've just mentioned, you've just been introduced as a brand new singer of the, shall we call them British metal legends,
Yeah,
Tigertailz.
I like that. I like that. That's a quite nice explanation. Yeah.
That was just mid-December, roundabout then, you were introduced officially.
So yeah, I was officially announced on December 17th. It'd been in the works for several weeks, couple of months. We were secretly recording stuff for a little while. Yeah, and there was the odd teaser here and there, but it was quite nice to see the reaction because it's been, majority of it has been very positive and overwhelming at points actually. So it's been nice.
Now, looking at your own career up to this point, Ashley, you obviously had your own bands, Power Quest and Dendera, and Jay Pepper. Now, Jay, I think, is the only original member of Tigertailz now
Mhm.
that's still in the band. And he said some things should never happen, but it did when you turned up. You sang some of the classic songs with him in the studio. So tell us a bit more about that. How did it actually come about with Tigertailz?
So I was aware they were looking for a new vocalist. Um, and I always, keep my ear to the ground to see what sort of stuff I can get involved with. I love being part of projects and getting involved with helping other bands and also being in bands and just musically keeping myself very busy. Um, I started speaking to Jay, um, and I sent Jay vocal tracks of me before. Um, Very flatteringly, I got a message straight away back saying, "Please, can I phone you?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's have a chat. Let's have a good call." And we had a really nice conversation and sort of bonded over our love for certain bands like The Darkness and stuff like that as well. Um, so we arranged for me to go to Cardiff and sing a few songs. They gave me, I think it's 3 or 4 songs to sing. And yeah, we just bashed them out. And I was very happy with how they turned out. 6X was one of the songs that they asked if I wanted to give it a go. I was like, yeah, cool. I love that song. I love that album, so I'll give that a go. I'll happily do it. I went up there and just spent time with Jay. And it just worked. It just fit very well. I know they had a lot of people message, a lot of responses for the singer position. You know, and it just fit nicely into place. There's a great working relationship I've got with the guys now. We all sort of have our minds on the right track and the right path. We know exactly what we want to do. We know exactly how we're going to work together. We have a great way to communicate with each other and very open and honest about stuff. And since day one, me and Jay clicked. He then spoke to the guys about my vocals, and apparently they were very, very positive about my voice. And it just all came together. And it was very much a phone call back to me saying we'd love to make this happen if it's possible. So, I'm very excited about it as well.
So, looking at you, if you don't mind me saying, you look a bit younger than the rest of the guys in Tigertailz. They're a band that, I mean, I believe they've been going from the early 80s, but 84 roughly, around
Yeah,
about
yeah,
then.
yeah.
So,
Mhm.
they've been on the scene for a long time. Is it a band that you were aware of growing up as you were kind of creating your own musical experience in your own bands?
Yeah, so definitely. Me and all my brothers are all into the same style of music. Whether it be heavy metal, rock, glam metal, thrash metal. We love all that sort of stuff. And when I first started getting into music, I was a big fan. So when I first decided I want to be a musician, it was actually the band The Darkness that made me want to do it. I was like, right, okay, cool. This is what I want to do now. And I off the back of that, finding this band that I loved, I went back and did what a lot of people did at that time, and went back and looked at bands like Thin Lizzy, Boston, Rainbow, and Tigertailz are a band that I definitely was aware of and heard about at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we've my brother's also a massive fan of them, so he was like one of those people that would tell me all about the stuff and make me listen to Berserk and stuff like that as well. So I was definitely aware of them. I definitely heard them before, and I thought this is it's a very fun genre in general to perform and to listen to as well.
Mhm.
So it was one that I was very keen to do because of it's a type of music and a style of music that I genuinely love. There are, I said, I spent years listening to bands like Bon Jovi and Thin Lizzy and Queen and all sorts of stuff like that. So to play this style of music and rock music is something I was very excited about. And that genuinely spanned from when I first heard Tigertailz years ago as well. So yeah, obviously is a bit of an age difference and stuff, but it makes no difference to me and the guys. Really, it's all about the performance and how it all gels. And I think it works personally.
I would agree. I think age means nothing in music. Age transcends music in a lot of ways.
Exactly. I agree.
Nothing to do with age. It's about how you gel as musicians and how the music comes together. Absolutely.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So looking at your own career up to this point, now you've obviously got your own bands, Power Quest and Dendera. Now, is it fair to say they're metal, but it's a slightly different type of metal than Tigertailz, maybe more towards the power metal side?
With Power Quest, it is a power metal band, very similar to Tigertailz. I got into them by being a fan, as a young fan. I discovered them the same sort of time I discovered Dragon Force and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
With Dendera, it's like a thrash metal, almost metalcore band at points. And I been doing them for a long time with the guys now. They're like my best friends in the world. So that was an actual love of mine. And then Power Quest came along about 5 years after that. I was asked to join them, and I've had some very, very wonderful experiences with Power Quest. I've gone all over the world with them and done played songs that I genuinely grew up listening to. And I think it'll be a similar vibe with Tigertailz as well. It's a band I know and love, and I get to do this. But to answer your question, Power Quest is a power metal band, and Dendera I'd say is a heavy metal, thrash metal band. They're all three bands that I'm in are different. It's in a really nice way. I don't want to just be in bands that all play exactly the same thing. It makes no sense to do. So I'd rather have, be able to have a chance to sing all styles of music that I genuinely get into and I get a kick out of and a thrill out of as well.
So that gives you an opportunity to really show off your voice then, because you're not just what you would maybe call a one-trick pony then.
No, I like to think so. It's been very nice, some of the comments, because I guess when I got announced for it, there were a lot of comments from people that knew of Power Quest or Dendera saying, "Really, how's this going to work?" And then they heard the track and heard that, well, I can sing this stuff. This was stuff I was singing before heavy metal or power metal. This was stuff that I used to be in college cover bands, or I'd sing Guns N' Roses songs or Bon Jovi songs, and I did I Believe in a Thing Called Love and all those Darkness tracks as well. So this style of music was one that it was arguably the first style of rock music I sung, and so really it was an easy transition for me because I'd already done it, just not in a professional environment.
Well, it obviously worked, Ashley, because as you'll be aware from the actual press release, Jay said that when you went down to record in Wales with them and you sang 6 Sex, I think the quote was, "Mountains in Wales started to rumble." Now, mountains in Wales, it's fair to say, but I think from that we can say that you're really impressed with that. If we'll call it an addition, if you want to call it that. And I also described you as being like a jet engine running in nitroglycerine. Now, that's a compliment from a man who's been in the business for so long, and he's seen it all before.
Yeah, it was. So I saw the press release obviously before it got released, and Jay just wanted to make sure I was happy with it. And the message I remember sending back to him, I was like, it's so nice to hear. It's genuinely flattering as well. I've been, I guess, fortunate enough to have many people be nice about my voice throughout the 10 years I've been doing this professionally, whether it be in magazines or radios or podcasts or stuff like that. But that was one that really hit home, because it was like, oh, okay, this is a big deal for those guys as well. It's not just for me. They're happy that I'm the singer, that they're going to be able to sing. There's a whole back catalogue of songs they might not have been able to do before.
Yeah.
So it's one of those ones that we've been able to look at songs and go, okay, cool, we can do any of these songs now, and they've made it a big deal for them just as much as it is for me, and it's been very flattering, and it's just been nice to deal with that as well.
So as you already mentioned, 6X, and that's from is it 1990? I think was it around about then? 1991 was the Berserk album come out with Tigertailz. So that was one of the songs that you sang, but you've already mentioned you tried 3 or 4 others. You try all different types just to see how your voice would fit in with the whole history of the band, and as you've just said there, allowing them the opportunity to sing songs with other singers they might not have tackled before, particularly in a live setting.
Yeah, so we sung. There was 3 different songs I can remember off the top of my head that were all different vocally. I think they wanted to see that, can I do the intense high pitch stuff? Can I do the more soulful stuff? And so we've done it all, and luckily they were all very happy with every single one. So you'll definitely hear more of that stuff. We're going to be working on new stuff together that's going to show off not just the stuff you've heard on 6X, but stuff that's going to, show the whole range of every aspect of my voice as well. And that's something those guys have been very conscious about as well, and me, that they want to make sure people hear everything that I can do. So yeah, we sung a couple of other Tigertailz songs, and also looked at a couple of other songs that are in the pipeline as well, and see what we can work with, that sort of stuff. So we're already looking at new ideas as well.
So my understanding is that Bruce Dickinson and Rob Halford are very much influenced. I hate to use that word in interviews because it's quite cliched, but they're influences of yours. You've listened to them growing up. They're voices that have maybe had some kind of effect in you and your own style over the years, and they're not straight away voices that you would put in to the Tigertailz back catalogue. But I think, to be fair, you've actually answered this in the few questions before. This isn't just about focusing on one area of a band's career. It's a band that's been going for nearly 40 years at the end of the day. They've got a big back catalogue. So you coming into the band, it allows them an opportunity to really expand their range, if that makes sense. Do you feel that's something that you can bring along with your own influences in? As I say, you've actually answered that, Ashley. Yeah, the answer.
Well, I don't try and whenever I talk about my voice, it's always difficult to talk about it without sounding like you're being arrogant. I always try and keep my feet firmly on the ground when it comes to talking about myself. And but to answer the question, I believe we can sing any of the songs they've recorded now. There'll be songs the guys haven't been able to sing for years or ever, that we're already looking at for a live setting. There was, I guess the guys wanted to hear me sing 6X in its original tuning and all sorts of stuff like that, and go, right, if this guy can handle this, then he can handle that whole album, for example. So that's one of the things we were very aware of. We wanted to test my limitations, I guess you could say, with a range of songs and different styles. But yeah, I like to believe we can sing anything, and I'll definitely give any one of the songs they want to try a go. I'm not going to shy away from any of it, and I like to think I'm up for the challenge. I had the same in Power Quest as well. If you listen to a lot of the Power Quest stuff, they've got some very high songs, very high and intense power metal songs, and I made sure I went out to every live setting, whether it will be on a main stage of a festival or for club shows, that I gave it absolutely everything and try and make sure those songs were done justice to, and it'll be the same for this.
In terms of Tigertailz at the moment, 6X, as we've already mentioned, there's more to come, but at the moment 6X is available. The video is available on YouTube, which I'll ask you about in a second, and the song's available on all the usual platforms. You can get a hold of it. So it's your re-recording of what I think it's fair to say was a classic track. It's certainly the opening track from the Berserk album, but certainly one of I'd say one of the classic ones from it. It's certainly a song I've always enjoyed. So that's the one that you've released at the moment. I can call it your introduction to Tigertailz.
Yeah.
So how do you feel that you've changed that song? Because do you feel you've just rehashed what was an old song, or do you feel that there's a new modern sheen to it, and you've brought something different to it? Or what was your aim when you were recording it, I suppose is what I'm asking.
So maybe I'd say I brought a more modern edge to it, maybe a more melodic at points because it's it's more sung, I guess you could say, in a way. But I guess in intensity, I think I brought to the track something that's quite, I've had a lot of people saying that it just really hits hard, and that was something I was very proud of. But there was no real intent on doing anything with that track other than just singing it as the best I possibly could. I remember going into the studio to do that track, and I was with Jay, and we were doing the track. I think it took, and I was very proud of how long it took. I think it only took like 25 minutes to do the whole track. And to put into context, whenever I sing tracks in a studio, it usually takes 2 or 3 hours per song. Really, you have to really break it down. Well, with this one, it just flowed so easily. It was just bang, 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 and it just came together very nicely. So, but there was no intention on doing anything other than just making it as good as I possibly can. I really wanted it to show off my voice as well. I wanted it to be one that, if this is the first time people are going to hear me as a singer of Tigertailz, I need it to hit them in the face. I need people to go, wow, this is great. And I like to think we nailed that. But there was a real group effort as well. It wasn't just about my voice on it. It was about the performance the other guys gave, about doing the music video, about making sure that the whole thing feels rejuvenized and has a modern feel to it. We wanted to put that track out as if it's a brand new track, a new single. There'll be people that don't even know that's a real recording of an old track. They'll just think it's a modern rock track, and that was our intention, really.
So now to look at the video that you've recorded. Watched the video a few days ago. For anyone that's not seen it, get onto YouTube and have a look at it. I think you can get it through the band's website as well. Now, before I even read the press pack, that genuinely, one thing that came to mind after watching the video and the kind of story that's almost running through it, Metallica's Turn the Page video. I don't know if you've seen that one. You remember that one?
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same. In fact, it's very, very different. Was this the whole kind of point of it similar? It's almost like the stereotyping of women and the treatment of women in a lot of ways. And then obviously when I then read the press pack, it became apparent that that was part of the story that was being told through it. That's obviously a very current issue. So was that a deliberate part of the band, and do you have any creative influence in that?
So with this being the first music video I've done, I didn't have too much of an influence in the storyboarding of it, I guess you could say, and how it all came together. Jay was very influential on how this track wanted to go. He was around for the original, so he wanted to it to feel like it was a homage to that, but also, again, like you say, the stereotyping of a lot of it as well. So that was Jay that came down to that as well, really. It was I think it's a great video. It's shot very well. Everybody's performance was so spot on. We were watching everybody's takes, so their individual takes as well, and we were just also thrilled with it. But one thing that really did shine through in the music video was that everyone feels so energized and keen to get this good. We were all giving each other ideas. We were saying, why don't you try that over there? Why didn't you do that over there? And I find that Tigertailz really do listen to you. If I've got ideas, they'll go, right, let's just run with it, give it a go. You don't get in a lot of bands. But no, to answer your question, Jay was very influential on the storyboarding of that one. Music videos and stuff I really enjoy, so it'll be definitely one that I, for future music videos, I get a bit more involved in, maybe into the writing, the storyboarding of it. But for this one, it was a case of, this is the idea, this is what we want to do, let's just go and give the best performance we can.
It's worth a watch. For anyone who's watching this who's not seen the video, get onto YouTube and watch it. An incredibly well produced, very professional video. It really is excellent. Obviously, your own performance in there as well is excellent. So I would recommend it to anyone to have a look at it. As I say, I just watched it myself a few days ago, and genuinely I thought it was excellent. I don't know what I was expecting, but it far exceeded anything. So well worth a watch. So looking now to the live setting, Tigertailz have always been a fairly exciting live band. Now, my understanding is, correct me if I'm wrong here, you're looking 3rd of June, the Underworld in London. That's the first gig so far. Any other ones potentially on the horizon, or is it looking as if that's what you're looking towards at the moment?
No, we are very particular about the sort of things we want to play. We don't just want to play any old show. We want to make sure it's the best possible show we can give, whether it be in a club setting or a big support tour or festivals. All of that is being looked at the moment. There are things that, you know, I'm getting very involved into the booking side of it as well. I do that with my other two bands. So there are agents and people I'm speaking to directly as well. And there are some very exciting things we're looking at, and hoping some of them are coming off, and, you know, we get to tell the world about some of it soon. But, you know, if June the 3rd ends up being the first show, it's not going to be the only one. There will be more. And then not just in 2023, we're already looking at stuff for 2024. And so, yeah, there will be more. It's just at the moment, you know, we can't say too much. It all has to be very tight-lipped. But, you know, very exciting things. And it's been nice to see a lot of feedback from agents and promoters and bookers and stuff like that as well, that see this re-energized version of Tigertailz, and they find that very exciting, at the idea of having that on a bill with on their festivals, for example. So that's all stuff we're looking at the moment. That's all stuff that I believe there are going to be some more to tell the world about. But again, we want to make sure it's the best possible thing we can do. We don't want to be a band that do things half-assed as such. We want it to be as good as we can. And as I said, if June 3rd does end up being the first one, I can tell you now it's going to be an unbelievable show. Like, it's sold so well already. We've had great feedback from people. We've got some really cool support bands on it, and Kick and Valentina and stuff. So, you know, I think it's going to be a really special night in particular.
And looking past the live shows and into recording in the studio, I believe there was talk of a Berserk 2.0, if you want to call it that, getting recorded with you and vocals. Is that something that's happening? And are you also looking towards doing more original material with Tigertailz?
So I you know, the plan is more as original material. Right. You know, I believe there will be a new album in general, like a brand new record, all original songs, and that's something we're talking about. Whether that gets started later this year or even early next year or something like that will happen. You know, we wanted to make sure we see how all this goes down as well. You know, the guys were very conscious that there could have been a backlash about this. There could have been that, oh, you know, that guy's not got long hair, you know, or that guy doesn't sound like he smoked 50 cigarettes a day. You know, they wanted it needs to be one of those ones that, you know, we wanted to see how it lands. Luckily, I think it's gone down so well. For any negative comment, there's 50 to 100 amazing ones. The messages and the feedback I've had alone has been so overwhelming and absolutely lovely at points. You know, and that's all led to very positive ideas about doing an album with me on the vocals. So I think that's the plan. We're also going to get new material out soon as well, so you'll hear maybe a couple of singles, but then the plan will be going a full-length album.
And looking at your own career, Jay, as I've mentioned, you're a bit younger, you've got a long career ahead of you, and you've already got a whole load of experience behind you, as we've mentioned. What plans do you have for the future out with Tigertailz in terms of Power Quest and Dendara? Have you got anything in the horizon for them?
So Power Quest, this is Power Quest's final year. It was announced last year that we're going to be retiring at the end of this year. So all three bands have been so understanding about scheduling. So with Power Quest, for example, we've announced a few festivals across Europe. We're doing Prog Power USA in America, which is going to be our final festival show. We've got a UK run of shows and a Japan run. It's just been announced as well. We're going into Japan in June with another band we're good friends with, Twilight Force. This is like a special guest for them. And then the plan is at the end of the year, there'll be one big final show where we're going to have loads of special guests and loads of past members, friends from other bands that are going to come and join us in a big, I imagine, a London show. And that's going to be very exciting, nice big venue as well. Dendara are currently recording a new album at the moment. Right. Some of my favorite material I've ever been involved with. You know, Dendara is my baby. I absolutely love it. It's my best friends in the world, and I get to share the stage with them. And I'm very excited for this new stuff. You know, the last stuff we released was, you know, most progressive and the most aggressive stuff we'd ever done. We had some really cool special guests on it. From CJ McMahon from Thy Art Is Murder was on it. Tom Barber from Chelsea Grin, Tommy Johansson from Sabaton. You know, it was really exciting. And so the plan is to go and do a brand new full-length album, which we're recording at the moment. And again, there'll be festival performances and a few headline shows and support tours around that. But it all lines up so nicely. So the Tigertailz guys have been so supportive of the fact they know I need to finish out my career of PowerQuest.
Yeah.
And PowerQuest, you know, when I told them about Tigertailz, I got calls from all the guys. They were so excited for me because they all knew about the band anyway. They were like, "This is really cool. We're happy to see you do it." And the Dendera guys are always supportive of anything I do. They said they're my best friends. So, you know, any choice I've ever made, they've always had my back for. So it's been nice. I get to work with 3 bands this year, which is going to be tough, but it's also going to be 3 bands that all get it and all understand. You know, they know that while I essentially transition from PowerQuest to Tigertailz over this year, there's going to be tough at points, but it shouldn't be anything too stressful. And everyone's been so accommodating and genuinely really kind about it. But so yeah, busy year with all 3, I'd say. So
when you consider the world stopped in 2020 and it was entertainment business, it must be great looking ahead to lots of gigs with 3 bands.
Yeah, it's as I said, there's so much that's coming up, and you know, we're already looking at, I said, festivals and tours for all 3 of those bands. You know, PowerQuest have already announced a load. I said already announced a load of new stuff, and it's going to be our final year. And they've been a big part of my life since I was announced as a singer in 2016. You know, Steve and those guys have essentially changed my life because, you know, Dendera is a wonderful platform and I love it. PowerQuest put me in front of a bigger audience and probably also gave me, you know, off the back of that, gave me the opportunity to be in Tigertailz as well. So, you know, it all does stem right back from when I joined Dendera. If I didn't join Dendera, I wouldn't be in PowerQuest. If I didn't join PowerQuest, I wouldn't be in Tigertailz, and so on. So it's all been so nice, and I've been very fortunate and lucky to work with 3 bands that I love for many different reasons, and it's just going to be a very exciting, busy year.
So for anyone watching this who wants to check out your music with Tigertailz, as PowerQuest comes to an end, checking out the back catalogue with Derek, etc., what's the best way to keep up with your work?
So you can go on our social media pages. You can find Tigertailz, PowerQuest and Dendera. They've all got official Facebook pages. You can find my social media links, Ashley Edison Singer, where that's my Twitter handle and my Instagram handle as well. And I'll talk about all 3 of the bands there. But you know, make sure you follow all the band's social media pages and the Spotify accounts as well, as where you're going to get the updates for new material. And yeah, just follow all the social media pages, personal ones and the band ones. It really generally does help spread the word about all this exciting stuff. You know, and now you really need to embrace the world of social media for all this sort of stuff as well.
Absolutely, it's where it all happens. It's where this interview will be aired as well over social media, and hopefully lots of people are watching it and can then follow your career from this point on. Ash, it's been a genuine pleasure to speak to you, to hear about everything that's happened in the past and how that's led to what's now happening for you in 2023 and into the future, Ashley. And from everyone at Rockfiend, we certainly wish you all the best for the future, and we'll be keeping a close eye on your work.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, Gareth.
No, well, you take care, Ashley. Nice to speak to you.
You too, buddy. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.